They'll be calling you a radical. So I want to talk about this. And this is, as you know, I believe Kevin Blanch's theories, my hypothesis that the entire world changed in 2011 in all aspects. Socially, biology, theology. It's your pseudo de facto sociology. It's your pseudo de facto theology. No, it's your biology. And I believe that everything changed in 2011. Now, I've proven it ecologically. The ecology changed radically in 2011. We call those outliers in science, and I'm the scientist. You know, Stanford University. So, socially. So, I just watched really an incredible interview. I really loved it. Of all places, on The Daily Show. And the writer of the book, now, I haven't read the book. I've cruised it a little bit, just what I can find online. Socially, but it's his thesis, his scientific data that has proven that everything changed. We are with the youth in 2011, 2012. And and I've heard this before from different people, different sociologists, that the behavioral trends of our youth radically changed in a radical way, which we call an outlier, 2011, 2012. It's unarguable. It's true. Suicide rates in youth went. Mental anxiety, that's the name of his book. We know it's factually true. So that's what he does in his book. He explores well, it's not even a thesis. It's been proven that happened. He's exploring why. Now, Kevin Blanch, when Fukushima happened in 2011, now stay with me. You might think this is, but it's not. If you think I'm crazy, you think Albert Einstein's crazy. Einstein said over and over and over, in his theoretical, not his hypothesis, but his factual proven, I don't believe in all these made-for-TV biologists, scientists, the whole theoretical physics. I was one of those when I was 16. I was recruited because they had this new set of testing in the 1960s and the early 70s and they would come into the schools and the feds did it, these testing. They're based on hearing sound, rhythm, sound. I got the highest score in the country. And so by the time I got to night, I didn't know that, until I got to between 8th and 8th grade. A counselor found me and he's like, you seen this? Somebody approached him from the feds, that was doing these studies. And I was already fascinated with Einstein's work. I was already fascinated with biology. And so I was being recruited from all these different, muck universities. But my grandfather, Abraham Hunsaker IV himself, who called himself the great Mormon socialist by the way, the new golden spike, his face is on it. Right there. I mean, that guy, he only had 3 daughters. I mean, he knew what I was, whatever. He's like, no. He says, he called himself the great Mormon socialist. He didn't believe in inherited wealth. He didn't believe in these. I remember when I told him that the counselor told me that Caltech wanted me. Oh, he had a fit. Oh, he's like, oh. So I was already very fascinated with Einstein's work at a young age. And I had read over and over and over his theories as he got older. As he got older, he threw it all away, as far as the theoretical physics, trying to explain the fabric, the cloth, the rhythm. What really switched Einstein? What switched Einstein? In 1905, young guy, his theory of relativity was biology. You could call it physics. It surely wasn't, I guess, theoretical, but not what theoretical physics evolved into. It was something that could be quantified. light, speed. The C is speed. My Uncle Argyle taught me. So he proved all these things. You know, that's what I do, my tide pool work. I mean, I want to be involved with stuff that can be quantified, that can be proven, just like we know socially, as the social scientist, that we know that there was an outlier, 2011, 2012. This guy talks about it. It's unarguable. It's unproven. And that's like the fifth or sixth person who I've seen. Now, he blames it on the smartphone. I disagree with that. I mean, I understand that the smartphone was really evolving there. Here, I had a YouTube site in 2009, and it was accelerated, and then young kids started getting one. I get that. And I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I think there's probably a lot of evidence that points there. But I'm saying this is so radical and so clean cut. In science, we call those outliers, just like the tide pools. Now, hear me out. My hypothesis was the same as Einstein's hypothesis. That this is the most unnatural thing on the planet, nuclear is. Now, we never had full-blown, this isn't Hiroshima, this isn't Nagasaki, this isn't even the Bikini Atolls, this isn't Chernobyl, this isn't Chalk River, this isn't even the Pathfinder in Dakotas, named after Fremont. Oh, God. These nuclear 3 Mile Island, these nuclear accidents, MIAC, you know, as bad as they were, and that affected everything, no doubt about it. It affected everything. But Fukushima is the first time in human history this ever happened. At least three full core meltdowns, which I believe it was more than that. But we'll stick with their 3 full blown out core meltdowns. At Chernobyl, they went in, including a mine, and they entombed it. Did that stop the genie got out of the bottle for a while, but it was a new reactor without spent fuel. Now remember, at Fukushima, there were spent fuel pools there, 8 spent fuels with 40 years of spent fuel, including MOX fuel, which is against the law here. So, but the cores, bringing star power to Earth. This event is so radical, so foreign, so clean cut, such a line, it's Krakatoa. Now, you can dig in, and I've read so many books and listened to so many really good scientists on how Krakatoa, when Krakatoa was formed in 416, 418, how it changed everything. Biology, oh, fuck yes. Blocked out the sun for years. But how it changed socially, politically, philosophically. Well, it's unarguable that it did. It created new fucking religions. It created everything changed like that. In science, we call those outliers. Now, Fukushima happened. I hypothesized, look, these are the fucking hottest. These are suns. These are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of degrees now as they melt. They just get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And it's just going to be and I really thought the world would descend on it. I really thought there was probably some underground secret program going on. But as I learned via the Obama administration, once people started leaking me stuff, remember when Fukushima was happening, I had 3 radio shows. I was all over the world. And I would literally get thousands of emails from everybody and anybody that was anybody. I mean, I don't know how I did it. And of course, then I got cancer in 2011. I mean, just another coincidence. Radical cancer, which, I'm still having issues to this day. Open heart surgery twice. But my hypothesis was this is going to change everything. This is Krakatoa. Not just biology, but hear me out. The root of my thesis is once you alter the biology, you alter the sociology, you alter the theology, you alter everything. Einstein, if we ever let this genie out of the bottle, we ever have full blown out nuclear meltdown, and of course, people hypothesize China syndrome, which people can argue with you and say, oh, we saw the foot. You never seen no shit. There's no elephant foot. Fukushima has proved that China syndrome is very real. It's proven it. They've sent robot after robot that can handle hundreds of, I mean, such high temperatures, we don't even know how they can't get near it. They've seen, there's footage in Unit 1. When you get to the bottom, there's nothing there. The platform's gone, it's just a big gaping hole. That's been proven. So I call it Delmarge, and I'm like, this energy is going to push, not to mention the plume coming over us, the blast, but they push it in the ocean. The storms are going to rain. And I says, if you don't believe me, I'll get to work and I'll prove this. I got cancer in 2011. It's going to give you cancer. Oh, a form of cancer is almost unsurvivable. AML de novo. What's the odds? I go into the bone marrow at 11. My place in time. So my hypothesis, first, the typos will go. Everybody laughed at me. Oh, they went, oh, it's just wasting disease. What kind of waste? Now my work's being confirmed every day. My work's being confirmed every day. The 75 biologists that got together and have proven now that the well, just like I said, was a starvation event starting in 2012. The typo wipeout, 2012. The social nightmare with our youth, we are, 2012. The fires, the heat dome over the United States, and the greatest drought in 1,200 years, 2012, 2011, 2012. The plutonium fires ice is going to get into the needles. This energy you can't measure. You won't know that because you don't even know what it is. It never happened before. It's new. It's Semmelweis. It's germ theory. It's new. It's Krakatoa. It's that big. When did the 2011, 2012? The starvation on the mirrors, 2011, 2012. The starvation on the wells, 2011, 2012. The fucking salmon collapse, 2011, 2012 on the still. I says, we won't know the starvation event on the Chinook until 2016 because they stay at sea at 5 years. When they came home to every river, fuck, just off a cliff. I've proven it. Because we don't do opinion in science. We don't do scientists are mystified, we're baffled, we're stumped, we're curious, we're alone. Again, every time I fucking pick up a study, so now the cancer study's been fucking finally come out, which that's when I got my cancer in 2011. And we know, really great study, big white on AML leukemia, which is by the way, I was just thinking about it today because I met Frank Oppenheimer when I was real young in Berkeley at a thing at Laura Monet's cafe, Oh, God, fuck, when was that? 77-ish. He died of AML leukemia, But my thesis was, and everybody thought I was crazy, these are full-blown out nuclear meltdown. It's going to change everything. It's Krakatoa. And if you don't think Krakatoa changed people socially, change their theology, change their sociology, biology matters. Once the biology radically changes, everything changes. So, again, all these sociologists that are out there, these behavioral scientists, the data has absolutely proven that something radically changed in our youth. And I think it's more than just in our youth. I was talking to one of the doctors I know today about the radical change that happened in 2011 and 2012 in mental health in adults. So he's talking about, which he's right on the money, 2011, 2012, we know it radically changed the youth. Suicide went off the hook in youth. Anxiety in young female off the hook. Now, they're all blaming it, on the coddle society, which I think that's very much a piece of it. I want to say this, too. I have a lot of hope, and I'll tell you what. My two grandsons born in 2011, and I've been like a room mother, and they're athletes. And so I've really got to know the 2011 crop, the 2012 crop, their social circle in this town because I'm the room mother. I'm the grandpa with them all the time. Like when you walk around Ogden, anybody that sees me in Ogden, they call me, hey, you're so-and-so's grandpa. That's who they call me. My two grandsons' grandpa. That's what everybody knows me by. And I've gotten to know that generation that they're different. They're different than even the one a little older. I call them the plutonium kids. Hulk was made out of plutonium. That's just made up. I get that. But plutonium in the mother's milk, we know it synergizes nuclear fallout. So my work is absolutely proven. You can't argue with me anymore. My hypothesis, these are full-blown up meltdowns that are lying. Only one person on it. Why do you think they're so afraid of me? Why do you think this new document these people put together? Oh, my I remember those people talking to those fucking people down there, when they once in a while shout, I do all the fucking dirty work and they're trying to profit. They blackball me. Why else would they fucking do what they've done to me? Why would they classify me? Why would they allow, who paid all these people? I mean, you can't just tell me there's a few hundred people out there, or at least several dozen, that decided they're going to devote their life into slandering Kevin Blanch. I mean, there were literally dozens of YouTube sites and Facebook pages. There's a few of them still linger now. Most of them are gone. And we proved it. You think they just says, we just don't like this guy. There's that many people that want to dedicate their life to just to stalking me and slander, calling me every name in the book, which are felonies, by the way, and risk. No, they were paid to do it. Why? By who? Because they know. So Einstein said that so his book is called The Anxiety Generation. I haven't read it. I'm going to. I've been cruising in the interview, really my light glaring every single time I see a new outlier. Now, let's back up. In science, kids, let's go 101. In science, first you hypothesize the knowledge. Don't be afraid to get it wrong. Don't be afraid to hypothesize. Even though Joseph Google, they know everything, Facebook, and they're going to decide what's fact and fiction when we know that they're always wrong. What once was conspiracy is now fact. Semmelweis, germ theory. What's one was fact. We got to go to war. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction is total fiction. We know that. They're a propaganda machine. We did that. And so, of course, the youth are on. And I don't agree with the internet is the problem. I don't agree with that. Too much time on a phone? Yeah. Too much coddling? That's what people are working too much. The economics, they're working too long. Both parents are working. So, of course, kid, here's the iPad to babysit because the parents are tired. Trying to have a job and raise kids at the same time in this day and age. Our generation was so much different. We made enough money working 40 hours a week, one or two of us. So the economics, yes, there's our pieces of it. The phone, yeah, pieces of it. The coddling our children too much. Oh yeah, no doubt in my mind. But I believe what Einstein believed. I believe once you alter every single living thing's biology, their DNA, the second that happens, and how many times does that really happen? Now, gradually, the bomb goes clear back, Trinity, which pretty radical shit. Leukemia, alters the DNA. Like my doctor, I remember when I went in, she's one of my cancer psychiatrists when I went into the number one leukemia. By the way, it broke me as a millionaire, uninsured. But I remember her telling me, well, Kevin, I ain't got to tell you. You know so much about this, but because that's what I did before I got it. She says, it's like the ladder. Your DNA is like the ladder, and then all of a sudden something out of nowhere just, boom, kicks one of the rails out, and he just, that's what it is. So, Trinity, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, bikinis, Einstein. So, if this ever gets out of the bottle, it's going to alter every piece of biology on the face of the planet. Every animal, every plant, every living thing. Well, what about humans? He said, well, humans are animals. Oh boy, we're not seeing that being proven out right now. But will they adapt? He said, yes, in 50 generations. I personally believe we'll adapt quicker than that, but the jury's out, as they say. But what I have proven, and I've proven this, because I got off I did the work. Look at my type of work alone. My salmon work, my well work. Now it's all being verified. Every time there's new studies coming out weekly now. They're verifying what Kevin Blanch said in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, where I'm doing the work. The Muir study, the well study, all of them are calling it a great out. It's like the starvation event. They're admitting now it was all starvation. I'm the only one that was saying it was a starvation event. You broke the chain of the biology. and they're starving to death. Big fish eat little fish. Now they're saying, yes, it was starvation event caused by what? The blob. But now, who's the first one? I'm the guy that named it the blob. You play back tape, you can ignore my work all the time, but that's an unarguable fact. Me and John Kirk up there at the paddleboard business up there in Vancouver, the groups of, we're the first ones that were saying you can physically see it, whatever. And that's because when the healthy species all dies, the lowest form takes over. We call that scum, black mold. That's the lowest form of biology. And so their study saying, yeah, it happened in 2012. It was the wasting disease. What caused wasting? Look, then they're coming out global warming. Well, global warming has been going on for decades. Global warming is very real. It's unarguable. The data's proven that. But it's been going on for at least 70, 80 years. That's unarguable. I mean, so that's not an outlier. What he's talking about socially is an outlier. What I'm talking about environmentally is an outlier. We know, first hypothesis of knowledge, these are full-blown up meltdowns. Fucking, it's going to break the chain. It's going to get into the fucking trees. It's going to cause a fire. It's going to cause a heat bump. It's going to cause a cancer epidemic. It's going to cause to spike. It's going to cause a starvation event. And now all my work is, everything I said has been proven. Then you defend your work. And then if you're right, it becomes the knowledge, which I named plutonium. You can laugh at all you want. It's new. Because it never happened before. And so all these new studies, so we know factually, tell me if I'm wrong, all you scientists that are out there, I don't care if this gets 112 views. It really doesn't matter, does it? It's out there. Some ways, throw me in a rubber room and beat me to fucking death. I went rogue. I got lucky because I went to a public entity, a public school, Weber State University right here in Ogden, Utah, which ended up being this incredible place in the 70s and the 80s and 90s. Became the number one public boutique university in the country, bar none. Number one school of business. Way up there in biology, zoology, nursing. I remember telling Paul Thompson, me and him talking, he says, when they fired Ronald Reagan, basketball metaphors matter. And he's like, 99. I said, Kevin, we're going to become this Ivy League of public schools. We're going to be this. I said, what do you mean going to become? We already are. Look, I was the student professor of the number one school business. And then Warren Buffett steals that, blows it up. Dr. Cooley drops dead. In the night. We already are. So I was lucky enough to go there and be involved at that university from the time I was a child. I was always involved. I had my plaster business. I had my Wall Street career. Everything that I did. Of course, cancer wrecked that in 2011. It wrecked everything. I got hit by the freight train. They could have paid for it. They didn't. But, that's all gone. That school, all that, they go from first to worst. But I got lucky enough to go there where there was the incredible, incredible professors. It had this feel about it. It had this culture that the professors were there not for money. You had these dynamic, intelligent, you had Dr. Cooley, you had Doyle Strong in art, you had, Jane Catlin in art, Arthur Adelman, these brilliant, big-minded. You had Dr. Winterton, zoology. You had, these just geniuses. Just Jesus were surely not there for the money, and it became the number. We were beating Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and all these disciplines all through the 80s and 90s in every discipline. Of course, they couldn't have that. They fucking ripped that to fucking shreds. But I got to go to school there. I was a BIS guy. I was multiple disciplines. Of course, what they've done to me. Because, to stand up and present these kind of theses and do this kind of work, of course you're going to be an outlier versus the outright liars. So, my thesis, back to Einstein. We call it entanglement, right? So, remember he presented to Einstein his theory on entanglement. Remember when he presented that to him? What's his name? Ron. And Einstein says, no, that's fucking nuts. He says, so you're telling me that I could look at the moon right now, and you're telling me the other side of it's not dark. He says, maybe. So what he hypothesized, that photons, you could release a photon from a star, from, well, anywhere, anything, that way through space, and it would show up here and that way, directionally, at the exact same time. Well, that's impossible because of the quantum of time and space. I mean, the theory of relativity proves that's not true. So Einstein would think about it, they argued about it, whatever, and it became, Einstein labeled it, spooky science at a distance. Well, we know that he was right. It's been proven over and over and over now because they've used the big telescopes from, light years, stars from so many miles away that they record here and they're so far away. That's impossible. And so that's when Einstein come out and says, give it up on the theoretical physics. Now, we see guys like Neil and these idiots, they're theoretical physics, which I consider crap. I remember standing up in my class one time, had this theoretical physics class when I was 17 years old, and he's like, I was like, wait a minute. This shouldn't be taught as science. This is philosophy. This is, and I talked about what's his name's work, whatever, and I remember the professor called me up after. He said, you're just the kid. You're the kid in this class. Yeah. So I got to tell you, I agree with every word you said. I says, unless you could quantify it and prove it, it should not be termed science. And that can't be. And Einstein said over and over and over in his life, go be a plumber, be a carpenter, be a plaster, Blanche. I knew all this. Einstein influenced me because of those statements. And then, of course, I was influenced heavily by Michelangelo when I was a kid. I started plastering at 15, self-taught, by the way. And you ever seen me go with a hockey trough? Fucking loved it. I miss it so much. But this fake shit come out. First, they come for the craftsman. But Kevin Blanche, the scientist, the biologist. Everything I said and I hypothesized, and I proved it. I proved it the greatest outlier ecologically, maybe in history, but at least since 418 when Krakatoa was formed, happened in 2011. That's unarguable. All these events happened in 2011. We use computer models once we have enough data. We have all the salmon data. We have all the well data. And now they're using all these models, and these scientists are coming out saying exactly what Kevin Blanche said in 2011, 2012, 2013. So it's been proven that we know factually there was something radical and crazy, which we call outliers in science, happened in 2011. 2011, 2012. It's unarguable in the Pacific Ocean. The whole planet. So we have to start looking for the culprit. I mean, it was cut and dry like this. Ecologically, did a meteor hit Earth? Was it another Krakatoa formed? There's no evidence either of that. 3 full core meltdowns for the first time in human history, and they spent fuel pools that just, the energy is so radical. And, well, just for instance, the super collider in Korea just came up with 48 seconds at 100 million degrees. Well, what do you think these fucking cores are? You don't think they're 100 million degrees? Well, fucking A, they are. Bringing star power to Earth. A nuclear fission event like this chain reaction that just goes on and on and on and on. It gets hot. How do you think the fucking sun works? How do you think stars work? And that's not quantum physics. That's hard science, provable biology, science. So I'll tag this, his book, the name, and I can't wait to read it. I'm going to read it tomorrow. I'm one of those. I'll take a book, like this. And I remember one of my kids one time, because my one daughter's like that too. She's got that savant brain. And I remember, she's like, you really can't do that. Talk about fiction. And so, here's a good one. Love that guy. So, I remember. So I read the book. It wasn't quite that thick. He says, okay, I'm quizzing you. I don't believe you read the other thing. You didn't retain any of that. She's like, oh my God, you really did. Boom, 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 boom. I remember when I was young and first time I read East of Eden. I read it one day, a couple hours. I'm one of those. So I'll read that tomorrow if I can get my hands on it. But the phone, I don't know, the coddling and not letting children fall down and bump their heads. You know, it's like my two grandsons, the 1 week apart, the 2011 posts. My daughters bring them out here. They grew up out here. Fuck. God, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I don't say it was all good. Just letting them have that and do what they want. The way I grew up, I was like a little wild animal. So they bring those two out here, and I remember one time, they're pretty little. I got this big copper-looking pot. It's not really copper, but it's made out of metal, huge pot. I'm like, go get it out of your system. So I gave them a pickaxe, an axe, and a sledgehammer. You know, they're about 6 and 7. Have at it. I kept my eye on them. They don't think I was watching them, but I was peeking out the window pretty well the whole time. Kept my eye on them. Go at it. Never seen it. I mean, monsters. I still have it. They pounded that thing into about, 6, 7. Come in, get some food, then go back, get some drink, and just monsters. You gotta let it loose, man. You know, but they're athletes. They're soccer players, and my granddaughters are into different athletic endeavors and whatever, and out and about. But I don't like the whole soccer madness. I tell everybody, well, it's good because I'm having blood pressure issues. I tell the grandsons, well, the only good thing about my blood pressure, the only time I can really lower it's when I go watch your soccer games. What a boring ass sport. I tell them, they're like, oh God, but they run and they play on these comp teams, which I'm not a fan of, but they got them practicing 3-4 days a week. But I call it, and everybody knows I call it, Fortnite rehab. You got to cut them loose. If it's just in the park, let them run. You can watch over. Of course, you got to watch over the top of them. You can't just let your little. There's too many sexual predators. There's too many creeps out there. You got to watch over them, but you can watch over them from a little bit of a distance. You can't just take a little, 6 seconds. Go, bye, see it. No. Not like when we were young. No. You got to look over them. So I agree with somewhat of what he says, but my theory, which I've proven it ecologically, you read about Krakatoa when it blew so big that it blocked out the sun for years. Didn't just change everything environmental, which it did, oh boy. Changed all biology. Once the biology changes, the sociology changes. Once the biology changes all of the ecology, next follows the sociology. Next changes the theology, which it did. There were whole new religions born after that. It changed the way people think, whatever. Now, we still see the same old world order, imperialist. They're still doing their thing. But socially, I still say it's Fukushima. Fukushima changed every single piece of DNA, every single piece of biology. It's not your pseudo de facto sociology. It's not your pseudo de facto theology. It's not even your pseudo de facto biology. No. It's the ecology, stupid. And so it changed everything because it never happened. It was so radical and so crazy, and it got into everything and everything. And environmentally, it's been proven what an ecological catastrophe from hell is probably the greatest one in modern history. Well, no doubt it's the greatest one. And I can even talk where I think the pandemic came from. But so I'll tag it, read it. Long video, I didn't intend to do a video tonight. And I'm still thinking a lot about these guys. I was thinking about this today, and I started looking up some stuff. I was in 2014. I'm in San Diego, recovering from cancer, and protest. I'm doing my work at USS Reagan. USS Reagan, the ship itself that went in, all those guys getting cancer. I'm at the trial. There was a trial. They brought it in and had a big party in San Diego, in the harbor. I went to it and protested. I was the only one protesting by myself. The San Diego Chargers actually had a practice on there and had a sleepover Little League football camp. I'm not shitting you. I remember telling Phil Rivers right to his face, and I mean, don't go on that fucking ship. You know, and so many of those guys, including this officer, died of leukemia. So you can deny my fucking work. I really don't give a fuck at this point because everything that I've been through, run through the ringer, treated like shit, fucking. Now you got people making documentaries about my work and just taking me out. Let's make a documentary about basketball and leave Michael Jordan out. Let's make a documentary about the shut down the Senate offering and leave Kevin Blanche out. Let's make a documentary about fucking football and leave Jim Brown out. Let's fucking make a documentary about baseball and leave Ty Cobb out, you know. Fucking so that's where I've gone, and I don't give a fuck if this gets 87 views. You know, it's not how many are watching, it's who's watching. You know, if I'm not so effective as the activist, as the scientist, then why the fuck are they so afraid of me? Why the fuck have they actively worked so hard to blackball me? To slander, take the chance, a person slandering me every day all over the internet, risking committing felonies and going to prison for it. Just to slander Kevin Blanche on YouTube, it's just fire. It's just the will. It's just Krakatoa. It's just 3 nuclear full core meltdowns. It's just YouTube. 2011, the greatest outlier in history. Everything changed. More proof. The socioeconomists are now saying they're GREAT outlier. They're calling it the GREAT anxiety outlier. You know, it's more than anxiety. By the way, that's the San Onofre book for all you documentary fans. That's it. You want the whistleblowers? No, I am the whistleblower. By the way, all you cover-up freaks, you got your merit badge. Talk about a view to a kill. Stay tuned.